Okay, your key word for here is similar. That means you are setting up proportions, which means you need to color code. This side matches this side. This side corresponds to this side. Now be careful, sometimes they turn them around on you. They didn't this time, but they could. Now the question says, what is the measure of MN? So you need to find line MN. Well, here's M to N. We're going to call that X for now. So I always start with what I'm looking for. I'm looking for X. I can pick any other number in this shape. What number would you like to use in the same shape of X, as X? Well, I like even numbers, and I like the number 2. I'm going to use the number 2. You don't have to. I am. Now, if you look, X is orange and 2 is purple. So the numbers you put over here have to be orange and purple from this shape. Solve and you'll have your answer. Which of the statements best describes the box plot? So we're talking about what's true. It says company B's first quartile is less than company A's first quartile. So looking at company B, each one of these little lines is a quartile. So this is the minimum. Then this is number quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. So we're looking at company B's first quartile. That's right here. Is that less than company A's first quartile? Number B says company A and company B have an equivalent interquartile range. Now the interquartile range is the box. Are the boxes equivalent? Not in the same space, but are they both the same? Are they the same size? If they're equivalent, those boxes are the same size. In fact, I want you to write the word box here. C talks about the minimum. The minimum is this very beginning, the lowest number. And D talks about the median. That's the middle, right here. Number 3 says below is a net of a triangular pyramid. Highlight that word, or both words. What is the lateral surface area? This word says you're finding area. So your formula better start with A. Now if it's lateral, it means just the sides. So in your head you have to fold this baby up and turn it back into a triangular pyramid. So the sides of this, if I fold it up, this bottom stays on the bottom, and these are the sides that move up. You need the area of all of these. Make sure you have the triangle formula. Make sure you multiply by 3. When you get a bar graph, I want you to write the numbers on top of the bars. That way you never have to go back and read. Like, it just makes everything so much faster. It doesn't take you very much time, and it saves you time in the end. So if you are not sure how to read the bar graph, we need to talk. It won't take very long. I can show you, and you'll be ready to go. You are looking for not true. And you're just going to write these numbers on your answer choices and see if it makes sense. It says there are twice as many green M&Ms. How many greens are there? As there are yellow. Is 40 twice as much as 20? Of course it is. So it's not our answer because we're looking for not true. You're going to do that for every single one. Number 5 says, what is the volume of the rectangular pyramid? You guys are volume pros by now. So you need a formula for a rectangle and for volume of a pyramid. This is your base. If you don't shade your base, I can't help you. You have an extra number in this problem. Be careful. Don't let them trick you. Number 6 is just like number 4. You're going to have to do some work with percents. So proportions all the way. Number 7 is area again. You have, well, you might have 2 shapes, you might have 3. It depends on how you break them up. But this semicircle means you're going to have to divide by 2. So you're going to need area of a circle, and then don't forget to divide by 2. Now the bottom, you could break it up into one big trapezoid if you're not scared of that formula, or you could break it up into a triangle and a rectangle. Now I'll tell you, the trapezoid is a scarier formula, but if you break it into a triangle and a rectangle, you've got to find this missing side length right here, and that can be tricky. So either way, you've got it under control. Just make sure you add them all up in the end. Number 8 says the pie chart below displays the different ways students at Miller Intermediate get to school. There are 420 7th graders. How many more, suggest subtraction, 7th graders ride a bicycle to school than walk? So how many ride a bicycle? And how many walk? So 45% ride a bicycle and 15% walk. That percent is what you put in your proportion. All right, keyword for 9 is scale. So if it's a scale, if it says scale factor, it'll say the scale factor is blah, blah, blah. You're multiplying. If it gives you a ratio like this, 2 numbers, you need to set up a proportion. So you have 1/2 inch represents 5 feet. Yes, you can change that into a decimal if you like. And 25 feet goes on the other side of your proportion. Once you solve that, you've got the answer. So scale means proportion. Scale factor means multiply. Number 10 says Jennifer has a circular rug in her bedroom with a blue border around the edge. So we're talking about a circle. You should draw the picture. When we're talking about a border or something around the edge, what is that on a circle? If the diameter of Jennifer's rug is 4 feet, what is closest to the length of the blue border? That is circumference. Use your formula. I would suggest using 3 for pi. It'll get you close enough. You can figure out the answer. You don't have to. If you're a perfectionist, use 3.14. Just my suggestion. 11 says the dot plot represents the number of kilograms of strawberries Kroger sold over 2 weeks. Which statement is true about the data represented in the dot plot? So the mode of strawberries, mode means most, sold in week 2 is equivalent to the mode for week 3. You're going to have to find out which number has the most on it. That's your mode for week 2. So if I look, this one has 4. So my mode for week 2 is 4. Find the mode for week 3. There might be more than one. And then choose your answer. Or see if it's right. The median, that's where you cross them off until you get to the middle. It takes a little bit of time, and it's harder than you think. Like, we think we can cross off dots, and then it's actually really easy to confuse ourselves. So the median for week 2 is 6. The median for week 3, you're going to cross it off back and forth till you figure it out. The last one talks about data. Skewed is the tail. So this is where we draw our line, right? And we look for where the tail is. Sometimes it doesn't have a tail, and that's okay. But if it's skewed right, it will have a tail on the right. Alright, this you're going to have to get your ruler out. Nearest 1/4 of an inch, that is 1/4. So if you look at your ruler, you have all these lines. You have the big one in the middle. That's 1/2. That is a 1/4, right? Because it's 1/4, 2/4, which is the same as 1/2. 3/4, 1. And then in between, they're not quite as long. Those are 1/4. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 1 whole. Number 12 is just like number 2. It's just up and down. Looks a little different because it's sideways. So if you need help with number 13, you need to go back to number 2. Number 14 is just like number 12. Number 15 is just like number 1. But before we move on, do you see that this is one great big triangle? And that inside of that is a smaller triangle. Those are your 2 triangles. So it's a little bit tricky. And this whole side here is 4 and 6. So from K to J is 10. And from K to G is 6. It's kind of tricky. Number 16, you've done a volume problem already on this paper. It is a rectangular prism, so you need area of a rectangle and formula for prism. 3 numbers. If you use all of them one time, you will not get it wrong. Follow your formula.